5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I can't.
The moment of truth.
All right, welcome to the podcast. Now, to give a little bit of a preface for this, we aren't news reporters, and we're not like Joe Rogan having high-profile guests come on our show, right? We're just people talking to people while indirectly talking to you, the listener, as well. Part of the goal of what we talk about is get a different opinion, experience, exposure, different levels of all that to break it down and gain a better understanding or greater insight into whatever it is that's being talked about. Topics we talk about can range from being serious to lighthearted, anywhere from some philosophical concept to something about anime, right? Can be a little bit of anything. Now, the goal primarily is to use this information, breaking down whatever we break down, to be able to enhance or challenge or what have you, your perception. That's part of the goal. And so let's start with something on the more serious side, the feeling that you should or could be doing something more than you are. What do you guys think? Like, where do you feel you are in life right now compared to others?
You first, Dan.
I feel like I could be better. I don't know. Sometimes when I look around and I see like YouTubers and people who are like 17 making millions, I'm like, I could be doing more. But then again, I see like other people that are in like worse situations than me. So there's still things that I could be grateful for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way, especially the TikTokers. You know how TikTok, they have the algorithm that determines like who's rich, or they use that rich kids and stuff to advertise. Mm-hmm. And you see these people that are like 16 years old in mansions and stuff and flexing about all the stuff they have. But yeah, we're also lucky at the same time because we have all these things.
Indeed.
It's hard to have a gauge for something like this because like you can always tell yourself that you're trying your hardest, but are you really trying your hardest? Like it's all about how you perceive like what you want to do. You can't put yourself down because you're not trying your hardest or you are trying your hardest, because everybody else gets to where they are because of luck and how hard they try. So
yeah, and that's how I feel. Like it feels so bad. No, sorry, you go.
Well, me? No, you're good.
I was saying it feels so bad when you procrastinate, like even more so, because like you should be doing something right there, but you just can't do it. Like I'd rather hop on League for a bit, for like 30 minutes, or then it turns into an hour to 3 hours instead of doing my homework assignment. And I know for a fact I should be doing that homework assignment, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same thing sometimes.
So it's too easy
back to what we were saying before. What were we saying?
I was going to say, so you think it's like too easy to kind of fall into that sort of trap of being comfortable, cease moving forward and all that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can feel that.
But what you were saying before about like that whole thing, I don't know. I feel like when it comes to like gratitude, it's like the lower class wants to be middle class, the middle class wants to be higher class. So if you get stuck in that mindset, like that cycle, it's definitely not a good place to be.
So the gist, apart from Elijah's, which is more focused on the self, a lot of this sort of feeling of, I guess, being behind in some ways comes from the perception of others, like you guys talked about on like TikTok and all that, where it's the, the people who are already rich and all that are the ones who are like mainly featured, And so this kind of bleeds into the idea of a superficial society where everything's sort of surface level. Like it's all about flexing. Like, no, I'm not saying this is a fact, and I'm not saying everybody's like this. I'm just saying like it's kind of like just a general thing, like if you have that money, you have the car, you have whatever you have, you flex it, right? You're proud because you're like, relative to other people, you're like, oh, look what I have that you don't, that type of stuff. But how much do you think that actually matters? Like if somebody came up to you and said, look at me, I'm a millionaire, like they feel all full of themselves, but how much do you actually care about that? How much would you, I should say?
Mm-hmm.
Not much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Exactly. And see, that's where it all comes. Like people don't actually care how much you flex, whatever you have to flex. They don't actually care about that, right? So the pride of what you have, what you do, should not come from what others think of it, right? It should come from you, because that's what you wanted to do. That's what you wanted to have. That's all that. Like your work should be yours. It shouldn't matter. You shouldn't gauge yourself gauge yourself, or your progress, or what you have based on others around you. It should be about what's yours, and you should be true to yourself. You shouldn't try to play that same game of trying to hype yourself up to their level, because number one, like I said, nobody actually cares like what you have, right? Generally. Right. And number two, it's worse off for yourself if you try to be, fake to yourself. That's rule number one. Be true to yourself. Know yourself. You can conquer the world. Do we think that's a good conclusion for the more serious one?
I don't honestly think that.
Oh, we have more to say?
Only caring about what you think on the entire, like, where you stand and all. I don't think that's, like, the best answer. I think it should definitely be more of a mix between how other people see you and what you see in yourself. Because you can totally have, like, some sort of big ego problem and see yourself as better than others.
Good point, actually.
Right.
Good point, actually, because what was I going to say? Because this actually is a little bit conflicting, because I just said that, but I also have this other idea of I see, because this is the whole thing, because I'm really into history, the big important historical figures, and something with becoming, famous, so to speak. All of that comes from the idea of the person rather than the person themselves. It's why there's a saying, never meet your heroes, because you're going to be disappointed, right? You fall in love with the idea of something, how you perceive, like this person gets hyped up, they're like, and this, I guess, could bleed into celebrity worship, but we're not getting into that. But it all comes down to being in love with the idea of the person rather than the person themselves. And that is something that happens. And that's why I think there is the superficial society. But yeah, I do agree that I don't mean to say that you should be selfish about it. Like you should literally only care about yourself. But I mean, you shouldn't base what you do around like the attempt to try to impress others for something that is not all that. You know what I mean? It's different if you're like hurting people to gain benefit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I agree. What does everyone else think on that?
Well, with the attempt to impress others, I mean, sometimes it's warranted. Like, for example, if you're trying to get a girlfriend or something, you have to impress her, for her to like you in some way. Or be your best possible self. If you come in like a crackhead and act like you normally do or act stupid, then the girl's not going to like you, right? Or if you're trying to get a friend, same way. I guess it depends.
It works to oversell yourself.
What'd you say?
If you oversell yourself, then like you can't like revert back to your old self. You have to maintain that impression.
That image.
Not necessarily, because
how not?
First impression is everything to someone. You get that first impression. As you get to know someone more and more, you can act more and more like your actual self instead of your best possible self you presented the first time. So you get a gauge off of someone, off of how they act to you in the first place. And yeah, as you grow a bond more and more over time, like you don't have to act as, as outlandish or like you were saying before. It's going to take time. To act like your normal self.
I can see that. Yeah. But that only works if you reverting back to your old self isn't like obviously worse than what you were doing when you're impressing.
If your original self is like really, really bad, like you do drugs, well, that's like something out of nowhere. But if you're just a terrible person, then obviously over time that person's going to see that and you're just acting fake at that point with the first impression, acting not yourself. But yeah, that's what I think about that.
So yeah, I think. Well, Dan, do you want to say anything? Because I know you've been quiet for a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that. With you can be like fake to a certain extent, but it's gonna start showing over time. That's why they say like don't marry someone like right away. Like you should at least be with them for like a couple of years so that you can at least experience their true self. Or like the like how they say you don't truly know someone until you move in with them.
Yeah.
Because when you move in with them, you see all their habits and they can't really hide anything from you.
Oh, Dan, you moved in with your brother, right? Recently, like last year. Oh, how was that?
It was something. Well, I mean, I already knew the habits because, like previously, like we basically lived together, but like, yeah, it's kind of like rediscovering those.
I guess that makes sense. True. So, I guess the drawaway from that and compared to what we were talking about is that you can't be so general with it. Cause like you said, it's different if you are faking who you are as opposed to putting on the best aspects of yourself, which I would say are definitely two very different things. So yeah, because of the fact that we are in a society, you know, a community, people to people interactions are important, right? So yeah, I would say like first impressions, that type of thing, trying to be your best self in front of other people, you know, building up that kind of idea of yourself. It's not so black and white of like you should never care about that versus you should always care about that, but I should. How do you say? I guess that's pretty much sums it up, though. Try to be your best self always, but don't like have that be like your true self. You know what I mean?
Have it be like balanced out.
Work towards being better rather than forcing yourself to be that best version of yourself. You know what I mean? Like try to
A
constantly
way that makes it maintainable.
Yes, yes, exactly. And again, it is very different for somebody who's just like a complete dickhead to act like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between being fake and just trying to be the best person you are, right? I don't think there should be a shame. Like, if somebody's like trying to put on the effort towards that first impression, I don't think that's something that should be like shamed. Like, oh, you're acting different. Like, I think they're trying to embody who they want to be, but outside of that, they maybe they are, maybe they aren't working towards becoming that, you know, better version of themselves that to make it true. You know what I mean?
Like fake it till you make it.
Yeah, kind of like that. But just yeah. Like, yeah, actually, that's exactly it.
It's definitely case by case though, because sometimes when you're putting on a first impression, like it doesn't matter if that's the person you want to be. Like it doesn't. Like what I mean by that is it can be the inverse. Like of you not exposing your worst possible self, of you, like, for example, if you have constant BO or you don't dress the way you want to dress, like if you dress like a sweatshirt, or you know how you go on a date and you all dress up in a button down shirt, khaki pants or whatever, you go on a date dressed like that, but you don't go on a date dressed in like the hoodie and you know.
Hey man, you ain't seen me yet.
You want to impress the person, but it's not like you want to always wear freaking like fancy clothes when you go out. Like you don't want to be the person to wear fancy clothes and stuff. It's hard to explain, but
I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Like you want to relax.
You don't want to be that person, but there's a place and a time to act like that person. And that's what I mean.
So, I guess another way to put it is just imagine that a person's personality, their like whatever, their like true self, so to speak, is this like this kind of ball, right? And when they're putting on that airs, those airs, I don't know what the proper way to say that is, but they're doing that to make that good first impression. I guess that best self would pretty much be like that, like they're like making that orb, that R, whatever, radiate stronger, more powerful, but that's not something that's sustainable, right? Like you can't constantly be a perfect person. So I guess you have to pick and choose when is the right time to try to like put all your effort into that, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. I had something to say on what Elijah said, but I gotta be honest, I forgot about it. I forgot what I was gonna say, so yeah. Right. So does anybody else want to bring up any other topics? If we're good with this?
Well, I kind of want to hear Elijah's opinion on it.
Elijah's?
On what? Okay.
He already was talking, but then we jumped in.
Oh.
That's what I meant. Like, I had something to say on what Elijah said, but I forgot what it was that I was going to say. Unless you have something more to say. Okay. I just don't want us to be, like, too much on the serious topic, you know what I mean? I want to try to give us a good split. So...
Well, what's your favorite chips, Austin?
Chips?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you said chips, like anime.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like brand-wise or flavor-wise?
Brand, and then we'll go into flavor.
Brand.
You better choose the right one.
I don't know. I gotta be honest. I think Doritos are overhyped. If I'm being real.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know, dude.
Doritos over what, though?
Chips.
Or under what? I bet you only like vinegar chips.
What? No, I don't actually. Vinegar's okay, but I don't really. Okay, my favorite chips probably, like, just off the top of my head, would have to be the Lay's that are like in a Pringles can that are they're flaming hot. Those things are so good.
Lay's?
Sound nasty.
They're
Lay's
good,
is
bro.
like-
They're like spicy Pringles, man. They're good. I'm telling you.
Lay's is like the basic
Yeah,
chip.
that's the most basic chips.
Well, yeah, but I don't normally eat chips, right? So this is like to me, that's like saint level type shit.
No, I like me some Lay's. Whatever. It's basic.
Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
fine. Have you ever had Lay's or like the regular Lay's with cheese dip?
No, I haven't.
Jeez.
Oh, it sounds good though.
I've had the Ruffles
I like
with cheese
it.
dip.
You mean
Ruffles aren't bad.
the wrinkled ones, or what is it? The wrinkled ones?
Yeah, the wrinkled Ruffles.
Wait, but bro, that's like you can make any cheese dip and you just dip a chip in. That's the most generic thing ever. What about actual flavors?
Dude. Okay. All right.
Lay's,
Well,
Lay's barbecue's pretty good.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you like
Yeah.
goldfish?
Weren't you the
Elijah?
one just dissing on Lay's? What the hell? No, I'm kidding.
well, Lay's is good. We were just saying that was normal.
You guys destroyed me.
Yeah, that's also generic.
Like everybody likes it,
Mhm.
whether you, yeah. Well, my favorite chips is definitely hot fries, handicaps.
What's that?
Hot fries, like the rip-off Takis.
You never had hot fries?
They rip off Takis.
You have some?
They are pretty rip off. They're $1 no matter where you go.
Didn't they come out before Takis though?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're really good. They just get stuck in your teeth.
Are they a Dollar Tree? About to pick them up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try them. I've never heard of them before.
They're in the blue bag, right?
hmm
Mhm.
And it has like the guy that looks like Mario
Yeah.
from Chicken Air.
I'm looking up
Honestly, I
real
think
quick.
there's like one chip brand that might be above Doritos, possibly.
What?
Funyuns.
Ew, what?
Ooh,
Onions.
yeah.
You
Okay.
don't think so?
No.
You don't
Yeah,
think
I'm
Funyuns
agree
are
with
good?
I used to love
the only
them. I used to.
Actually, I can't even
Hate 'em
talk.
now.
I haven't had Funyuns in years.
I used to love them, but I,
I mean-
now.
Like, wait a month and then eat some Funyuns and it'll be like, oh, that's some good stuff.
The only time I force myself to eat Funyuns is when I'm at like the beach or some shit, and it's the only thing available.
Oh my
First
God.
world problem right there.
Oh,
It really is a
Roasting
beach
Funyuns.
chip. Like when you're at the beach, Funyuns are there. I don't know if that's the same for you guys.
I was going to say Fritos.
My family
I never
hates
eat
Funyuns.
Mm.
Fritos are good. Fritos are the better. I like Fritos more than Doritos, actually.
Fritos?
Yeah,
I think
I don't
Fritos are
like
too
Fritos.
salty.
I like Fritos.
Yeah,
I feel like there's not
it's
a
like-
lot of diversity with the
eating
flavors.
Fritos for me.
It
The
kind
barbecue ones were really good.
it
The barbecue
definitely-
chili.
Fritos
Yeah,
are
the barbecue
definitely
chili are the only
Doritos
good ones.
without the cheese. It's just more salty, but it tastes really good.
Have you ever had the chili Fritos?
No, I haven't.
Those are good.
Yeah, but those just taste like regular, like salted chips with a little bit of flavoring.
I know.
I don't know. You might have got a bad bag.
I'm weird like that. I don't really like any of the spicy chips or anything.
Oh, I love spicy chips.
You wouldn't like hot fries.
Spicy sweet chili Doritos, though?
Yo!
Yeah, the purple Doritos are the best ones.
Well,
Nope.
they're
Nah.
good, but that's not what I was going to say.
They're
you guys
breath
know the
killers,
chips that are like curly chips, like they're straight, but they're like curled. It's like sweet barbecue chip, whatever the fuck. Oh, dude, these things are fucking killer, dude. Haven't had
I
them in
don't know
forever
what
though.
you're talking about.
What's your other topic, Austin?
Curled chips?
The frick?
Might as well, I think you missed it when Dan was here, but we decided instead of just doing serious topics, we'll do we'll start serious and then we can just talk about
Let's
whatever. That
talk
way we're
about.
All right, so what's your favorite anime ship, huh?
Me?
Oh my god.
Man, I'm gonna get it. No. I don't know. It's between two things.
Yosugonosora?
No. Oh,
What is
he
that?
knows, He
What-
knows.
what
No,
is
I'm
that?
kidding. He knows. No, I'm kidding. Fuck. What's it called? I gotta have to say it's Kirito and Asuna from season 1. That log cabin.
I knew
That's
you were gonna say
beautiful.
that.
log cabin.
Yeah,
is
it's good
beautiful.
stuff.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Everything else, like season 2, I
Years
have
ago.
whatever. I don't care about the rest of it. But that logs cabin. Oh, dude, that was good.
That's like every gamer's ideal ship if it was real.
That was like one episode though.
Because it was wholesome. It was good. But
Mhm.
yeah.
I never watched SAO, and I probably will never. Because if the later seasons are bad, what's the point in starting the first one?
No, the first 10
It's-
episodes are good.
Yeah, the first season's good,
Yeah.
and then the rest are kind of meh.
Not the first
Yeah.
And
season.
then the last season, the last season's like it's like season 1. It's like godly.
The beginning
Oh, is the
arc
last season
in
that good?
season 1's the best.
Yeah, the
one.
last season's really good.
Oh, shit.
Realization.
Yeah, Astralization. And it had super fire openings. But then again,
Yeah, I like the
every season
openings,
had fire
so I
openings.
listened to those a bit.
I feel like season 2 gets too much hate though. Like SAO is not that bad, to be honest.
It's because they turn him into a girl.
Yeah, that was like the weirdest thing. Like, I just wasn't expecting that. Like, it caught me off guard.
Of all the choices. And
But
then,
he was still a dude though.
yeah, but then the girl he was hanging out with, she was like, "Oh, are you a dude?" Like midway through. Remember that? That's so weird.
Also, I don't know. Like, it didn't feel. The whole thing felt too gamey. You know what I mean? Where compared to season 1, where like death was an actual thing. I guess in season 2 you can die, but it's more like this sort of like urban legend type of shit rather than like a constant thing in the atmosphere.
Yeah. The stakes definitely drop a lot.
Yeah, without putting spoilers out though. Final season. It's like season 1.
It's terrible,
pretty
dude.
good.
You guys care about spoilers?
Well, the last like 3 episodes are kind of cheeks, but like the rest of the final season, that's good stuff.
What? Wait, I'm gonna send you a DM real quick. He
what?
better not
Yeah.
still be there, if you know what I mean.
Better not still be there. So Elijah, what's your favorite ship?
Would it be? I mean, like obviously, come on. I have to say Amelia and Subaru. Like, what else would I pick?
True.
That's insane.
Like, favorite ship's ReZero, and ReZero is part romance.
It's gotta be Rem and Subaru, right?
What?
Rem and Subaru.
Yeah.
I don't like Rem. I'm gonna be
No.
honest.
Rem's not even in the show.
Not that much, anyway.
He's gone.
Good.
Yeah, till season whatever. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Season 10,
Yeah,
season 11,
season 10.
20.
Yep, you
Something
got
like
it.
that. Arc 27. One of those.
That is crazy. Why would they write her off? She was the greatest character of all time. I still hate how Evan.
Character development. They had to.
Oh, true.
I hate how Evan
Because,
like freaking. He made me think that the whole ending was that him and Rem go to the real world and they just live together
What?
happily ever
Wait,
after.
the real world?
Wait,
Yeah.
No.
What?
They go back to the real world.
I thought you were
dude.
talking about the sloth if, and
No.
then you just go off to
Fan
that.
theory?
No. Him and
Iceberg?
her and Subaru go off and they just live with Subaru's parents and they live happily ever after, and that's the end of the story.
No. You know, that is a side story, though. School Days If, which is Vanity,
Mm.
it's like all the ReZero characters are reverse isekai. But whatever.
Petra if story?
That's why Lust If was deleted. He's saving it.
Uh-oh.
No, it's so.
Awkward silence here for a second, I see.
This is
Yeah.
why we got to have topics. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
but-
Into the
we kinda
next
switched it last
intense topic?
Oh, we want an intense topic. All right.
no.
Yeah, come on.
Shit, let me pull out the list.
What's the meaning of death?
The meaning of death. I don't think death has a meaning.
Wait,
if you want to talk about the meaning of
meaning
life,
of
I don't think. Yeah, meaning of death. I don't think, like, on a universal level, there is no meaning of life. I think it's up to you to decide what your life is worth, what your life means, so on and so forth.
I feel like this might be a cancelable topic.
What do you mean?
I heard you say that your reality is, or no, your perception is your reality. I don't agree with that.
You're an
actually. I
atheist
think
also.
reality and perception is completely different. What do you have to say about that?
I say that reality, think about it this way. Reality exists, right? And then picture you as separate from that. For reality to get to you, you have to perceive it. You boom, 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 your eyes, suck up the knowledge, your ears suck up the knowledge, all this, you suck up that knowledge, and then you process that shit. And that is what creates your reality, so to speak.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
like
saying an
people
objective
say, like
reality.
in reality, as if like someone's insane. Like in reality, this is what's actually happening. So-
That's not what I meant when I say that. That might be what whoever first said
Okay.
it meant, but that's not what I mean. I'm saying that, like, a person, like, I'm not denying an objective reality does exist, right? We live in that objective reality. But what that objective reality means to us, what it is to us, it's all about the perception of it, right? At least that's what I think. Because
Yeah,
you can't think about something you don't perceive, right? And so you perceive it, you process that, boom, and then you get like what you think about it, right? Because if we didn't think about things, we would just be like monkey, return a monkey. But
turn the monk.
I was gonna say, because like say like this is like obviously a really like extreme example, but just say there's a person, right? There's two people. Well, technically three people. All right, say it's you, someone else, and then some middle third person, right? This third person, right? Every time you see him, he's like the nicest dude in the world, dude. He gives you shit all the time. He's like, oh, dude, here's a $5. You need a sandwich? You want a sandwich? He gives you a hug, fucking whatever, right? But to this other person, right, he's just the biggest dickhead, right? So to you, this person is a saint. To the other person, he's the devil. You know what I mean? It's a really weird example, but it works to demonstrate what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean to say that there is no objective reality. It like literally doesn't. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like. Yeah. All right. What do you guys think of it? The other two.
Are you an atheist, Austin?
Am I an atheist? Yes, I'm an atheist.
I can tell.
Let me actually say something, because this is actually one of the other topics. And if you want to talk about atheism, the belief by necessity as opposed to reason and truth. Now, getting into like the whole topic of God versus no God, that's a little bit beyond, because there is no proof for or against, right? But this is kind of how I got to the topic. But
I feel like religion's kind of a dangeous topic, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to shy away from that. I'm trying to pull back a little, trying to reel back, But how should I say? Like, yeah, this topic it's so hard to talk about it without getting into like that type of stuff. So we'll drop the dime on that one.
You're
What do you
offend
mean?
me.
I don't think it's all that like controversial.
Well, when you talk about death, you have to talk about like the possible outcomes of like what comes after death.
Well, yeah, you know what? We can't shy away from this shit. We got to get into it. We all have conflicting opinions here. You know what I'm saying? So this would be good to talk about. Belief by necessity versus belief by reason and truth. I believe that the idea of God was a belief by necessity to explain things, to give some meaning to lives lived, so that there is, here's a heaven, there's something after it. It gives like, it'd be nice so you can go to heaven, all that type of stuff. Versus, and you can see like from history, from before to now, like science gradually supplants some of what, like, not just like Christianity religion, but something as simple as, not simple, I don't mean to like downplay it, but like another religion, like the Native American shamanism, like, oh, the lightning comes from the lightning spirits, that kind of stuff. Science gradually encroaches on this stuff because we have a better understanding of the world around us. And so atheism is on the rise, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. I believe that religion originated as a belief by necessity, as well as possibly, depending on how cynical you want to be about it, an institution to control the populace. Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just fact. Because like, there's definitely parts like religions made by ancient civilizations that were made purposely so that they would do something that they want. Like, for example, I don't really know too much about it, but like more like Vikings or something. How if you die on the battlefield, then you will go to heaven or whatever. Or whatever. I don't really know what it is, but
yeah, it's
like that's so that they will fight for the leaders. Like I think that's the perfect example of like religion can be created, and there are some religions that we know are created because it's just in history. But
Scientology.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold up. I actually want to say something real quick.
Scientology.
I want to say something real quick. I believe it is possible to refute Christianity without refuting the idea of God. Boom. That's my hot take on that.
I agree. I'm kind of agnostic, so.
Well, then who would you say God is?
God? Well, we don't know who God is. That's the point.
God is if existing, is just a cosmic entity that created us.
You're going to hell. Both of you.
Well, no, but here's the thing. The institution of the church, for example, if you want to talk about Christianity, is a mortal creation, right? So in history, you have like popes that were just like dickheads, right? Like the pope is supposed to be like the God's representation on earth, but that's not like a literal thing, right? Because he's out here fucking, not he as in the pope now, but like in history, there have been popes that literally were just like mega dickheads, right? Like they were not good people.
Yeah, but, and is that what you're gonna say with Egyptians? Was it Egyptians that like were gods? If
their pharaohs were gods. Yes. Yeah.
I like how you can tell who the two religious people are because we're not saying anything.
I think it's good to have like a different opinions on the matter because everybody in life, people have different opinions now. That's why I said, let's not shy away from it because you can't just avoid conflict in life all the time.
The thing is,
there are definitely benefits to religion and shit. So
yeah,
I'm religious, but I'm not that religious,
not like a diehard about it.
Yeah, so I'm not too well informed to argue against anything. No.
All right, that's fine.
Well, you did.
I'd say I'm pretty religious, but it's like I don't want to make an argument that I'm not super well informed on. You know?
It makes sense. How about not Christianity then? How about like other, because like how he talked about the Vikings and Norse mythology and all that. Can you at least see it applied to something like that?
Well, yeah, I can definitely see it applied to something like that. I can also see it applied to like where you're talking about like Christianity and stuff like that. Like I guarantee it is a possibility, but in my mind, I still believe that like the whole entire Christianity thing.
Like the moral institutions around it themselves are fabrications, but the idea that it's supposed to be representing could still be a thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Same boat.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, and God's creating you to think that way, so I mean,
wait, see, that's another argument.
I understand the logic, but I don't know.
I get what you mean. I was gonna say that's another argument. Is like the whole like so and so created me this way and all that stuff. But
yep, you create that way, Austin.
That's a scapegoat. That's
because that's what I was saying. That's why I said that's why I'm not going into it. But
you could say it's a scapegoat, but it's also true.
See, okay, you know what? Actually, let's talk about something more kind of theoretical, real quick, just for a second. If God did exist, right? I believe, like, and this might sound like egotistic or whatever, but assuming it was me, right? I'm projecting myself into being God here. If I were to create the Earth, the world, the whatever, I would create it exactly as it is. It's not a paradise. It's not perfection, because, in my opinion, to be perfect it's something you should always strive for, but not literally always strive for, but you know what I mean? Like, you should always work towards betterment, but you can never truly reach perfection. In a world that is perfect, we talked about this before with the pursuit of happiness in a private conversation, where the heights are defined by the depths, right? To a degree. So if, like, there's just no, like, because if I'm a god, I'm making this thing, and it's, the idea behind, like, art is imperfect, kind of. It's not meant to be a perfect world. It's not meant to be a perfect creation. Like, there is suffering, but there is happiness. It's a balance of everything. It's like it's a story. It's compelling. You know what I mean? The world is a cosmic narrative to me as God, right?
Yeah,
like that kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
If you made everything perfect, it'd probably be pretty boring too.
That's
right?
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, nothing really to add. That makes sense.
Every person is given their own life, their own. Oh shit! The collective free will idea that I had. We'll talk about that some other time, though.
Well, about the scapegoat thing, that doesn't really even apply, to be honest, because in Christianity, God gives us free will, like you just said. So
exactly,
it really is just a scapegoat. Like, God creating us just the way we are is another way of saying genetics. Like, our genetics make us who we are, but that's also not true, because we also have environment, what we learn from, like, our mistakes and shit, and like it is a scapegoat.
It is true.
How's it not?
Your genetics do make you who you are, just as those
not entirely though. It's only part.
Yeah, not entirely.
Like, somebody who's really smart can end up the same as somebody who's really dumb.
How so?
Like, in the same places. In the same place of life. I mean, like, riches. You can end up rich or end up poor. It doesn't matter if you're smart or dumb. It's also how much you learn in life and where you go in it.
Well, I don't know.
I'd say that's chance, to be honest.
Well, let me put it this way, because Elijah told it to me like this before. He said, like, I was talking about my mentality and all, and he was like, would you have that same mentality if you were born a millionaire? And I said, no, I probably wouldn't. I think that's kind of what he's getting at.
Well, it depends, though, because Donald Trump has that mentality, but he was born a millionaire.
Do you think Donald Trump is stupid?
Yes.
All right.
It's hard to say. I don't know. I think he's pretty.
Well, I mean, his college professor said he was.
I guess it is hard to know, because it's not like you would know the variation of the person who's born poor as opposed to rich, or rich opposed to poor. I guess it's not something you can know for sure, but I do believe that environment does play a big role in who the person becomes.
Yeah, and Elijah, you were saying dumb or smart. Like, define smart if you're smart.
All right,
yeah, I was gonna say that.
My example was bad. Let's move on from it.
I feel like that's a good topic, though.
I'm not trying to drill in it, though. Like smart in, like, school smart, or smart as in, like, money smart?
I was talking more like intelligence, as in, like, IQ. Like, IQ of 150 versus IQ of 75.
Yeah, but Again, I mean, yeah, you already know. It's like a whole loophole because a smart person, in theory, would be able to be smart with money and be able to find a way to make money, right? And become a millionaire.
It's just
But
like
they could
how
be vulnerable emotionally, so to
Yeah.
speak.
I guess the smart person has to also have the drive to be able to do that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
As
yeah, it's
well
like how some
as
people can have autism but
discipline.
then be super smart in like another like field.
Yeah, right. It really depends on many factors. Like you can't just be
Mhm.
Yeah,
smart.
which is the environment.
Yeah, you're right.
I think. Let me put it. I think obviously some people are born with the capacity to be stronger and so on, but I think how it also like a part of it I guess just again depends on perception, because if you take two different people growing up in a poor environment, one person might just relegate themselves to that the whole time. They might just be like, all right, well, this is my reality. The other person could be, fuck it, you know what, I have nothing but this I guess is getting into like envy or whatever, but he gets that drive. He's like, you know what, I have nothing but I want something more than this, because this existence is nothing, I want more. You know what I'm saying? He gets that passion, he gets that fire, he gets that drive. And they're both in the same environment, and it's definitely the environment that gives them that effect, but like what is it that alters how they process that environment, so to speak? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like the story of like Ben Mallah. He grew up in like one of the worst hoods, and somehow he's like one of the richest men in Florida right now with like a $250 million like in his bank
What the heck?
or net worth.
I guess this is a really good point. Like,
I feel like it's like you can have drive and have nothing, and you can have everything but have no drive. But if you have both, then you're like ahead of
your
the
own
game.
world.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? See, this is why it's hard to come up with a discussion like this, or not a discussion. How it's hard to come up with like a real takeaway from this, because at the end of the day, you can never know like I said before, you can't know the variation of that individual if they were born under a different circumstance. So you can't really measure how exactly, those different circumstances would affect them. But I do think part of what shapes a person is the environment.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not literally like oh, I live in a poor place. It could be like, just anything that's not specifically on you. So like if you have a hero who's like, I don't know, basketball player, so you're like, oh, this guy's cool, and so you start playing basketball, you get good at that, all that shit. It's like a variation of things that aren't like just determined by birth. That's what environment would be.
Mm-hmm.
We just flatlined.
But anyway, yeah, we did. All right, let's kick it back up real quick. If I can,
I want to say one more piece though. It's like how like some people, like when they're younger in their developing ages, can develop like anxiety or like super crazy narcissism because of how they were raised, like their environment.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's possible for people to be like predisposed at birth to that type of stuff? Do you think that's like a thing? I don't know if it is. I'm asking, like, what you think.
What do you
I
mean?
definitely could think it kind of is a thing.
You mean like genetics or just
like
don't know.
genetics lead to
No,
narcissism or
are
something
you saying
that?
like
Not exactly. Like, do you think like, because like I said before, how you could have two people right in the same environment, but like come out to be two different ways. Like, how do you guys think that happens? Like, is it possible that part of that could be like a little bit predisposed at birth? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's like an adolescent thing. Like how some kids are like fearful of certain things while others aren't.
Oh, if you want to talk about phobias, that actually is. I looked that up, like, this was a while ago, but it turns out like something like the fear of like snakes or spiders or something actually is partly genetic or something. I don't know too much on that, so I'm not
Well,
going to
the only one that's like confirmed to be genetic is the fear of falling.
falling.
Yeah, that's the only actual genetic one.
Fair enough. But that does, like, so I guess that does kind of prove at least the possibility that more things could be, predisposed at birth. I do think both are important, environment and fucking whatever the other word is. Can't think of it now.
Genetics.
how did they
Yeah.
Well, no,
Danton?
there's a phrase in it. It's like environment versus something.
Do you know how a fear of falling is genetic? When you read that article?
I don't remember exactly how, but I remember looking it up and watching a couple of videos on it. Because I was trying to figure out how people like developed anxiety and stuff, and I was really into psychology.
Did you take a class in Full Sail? Psychology? Actually, the one we took was psychology of play, and that wasn't really, actually psychology. It was just of gaming and free time and what you do in your free time and stuff.
Yeah, well, they went into it a little bit, but just not much.
Yeah, that's besides the point. All right. Next topic. Let's go. League of Legends.
Yeah, take us right. League of Legends.
League of Legends.
Dan, what are you in League of Legends right now? Are you silver? You gold?
Yeah, I haven't touched the game. It just makes me rage too much. I almost had a Joker moment playing Valorant today.
Really? What happened?
I felt like I was playing good. I had Red Bull in my system. I was doing good. And then the next match, I just kept getting like trashed. You know how there's voice chat? It was just not good. Getting flamed in voice chat. Doing trash.
Were you flaming back?
Well, yeah, I started flaming back.
What were you saying?
like the one dude was like, "Oh, dude, you're an entry fragger. What are you doing? Go in now." And then I was flaming him, and I was like, "Dude, you're Sova. You're supposed to at least be using your darts or something." He's like, "You don't see me using my dart," and then he misses every single dart or gets shot immediately. And I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he was like, "You know what? I can't stand your toxic behavior." And then I walk up, and he was like, "Watch, look at him. He's throwing. He can't handle the pressure." It's like, dude, calm down.
What a freaking freak, dude. That's all those toxic people in Overwatch and all these silver people that think they're so good when they're in silver and stuff. Like, I don't get it. Wait, are we allowed to curse on the stream, by the way?
Yeah, dude, I've been swearing the whole time. I have like borderline Tourette's with that shit, I swear to God.
All right, shit. Okay. Fuck. All right,
yeah, but like the worst part is I was the top fragger, and this dude just wouldn't stop, and he was 2-10.
Suck. He's 2-10 as who?
He was 2-10 as Sova.
Yikes!
All right,
and then he got the whole entire team to rally against me.
That's funny. What was I gonna say? So we're talking about tilt, right?
Tilt?
Yeah.
Basically, tilt. This is tilt. All right, because the other day, right, we were playing on the server, and like I'm gonna give like a contrast to this, right? Like being tilted, but being like how, like actually before I get into that, how would you recover from tilt? Like, what's your solution to that?
You go first, Dan. Because you have probably the most experience, or probably I don't know. I get just as much tilted as you, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like there is a proper way to recover from tilt. It's like I watched the Donkwap video. And it's like, I don't know. I just stopped playing if I'm tilted, but then I want to play another match. So then I'm stuck on like this endless cycle of like, do I play another match or do I not play another match?
Trying to prove yourself.
Like drugs.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and it's like, what were we saying?
Well, I'll let you finish real quick.
Well, I was accidentally about to bring it into a whole entire another topic, so you can go.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, to contrast with that, the day I was playing on the server and I fucked something up and lost a whole bunch of progress. And I told Cameron, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm tilted. I'm getting off for the night, right? So I left. And about 3 minutes later, I messaged. I was like, you know what? And this, I guess part of it might be mentality. Part of it might just be, it's just something, right? But I told him, I was like, you know what? I can't catch back up if I don't play. So I got back on. He joined. He's like, you know what? I figured this was going to happen because you recover from tilt pretty quickly. And like, I'm not saying I don't get tilted, but it usually does pass pretty quickly. And I don't know what the secret to it is. I don't know if it's the mentality, the behavior. I don't know what it is, you know? I would say, like, I would suggest that as a solution, yeah, stop playing, but then you get stuck because we both had the same, like, mentality, different result, but same mentality of we got to get back into it, right?
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
So I don't know. Like, I don't know where that comes from, you know what I mean?
Would you say you try just as hard when you go back immediately after tilting? Like,
Who?
You. Like, you're tilted about something and you were trying really hard in the game. Like, I'm assuming you were talking about Minecraft or something, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I just fucking destroyed the thing. I was a little pissed off. When it comes to like a game, like a competitive game, I guess it gets a little more hated because I'm more invested into it. It's not just some casual thing,
right?
And at that point, I'm definitely less immune to the tilt, but it still usually passes pretty quickly. Just because it's like, I guess I don't like. It would be different if I cared a lot more about it, but like I don't play ranked, and when I do, I mostly just meme as like, what was I? I played like Nidalee support that one time or something.
That's
one time
thing.
I queued for ranked and didn't even know I was in ranked. Like I guess it's just because it doesn't matter as much to me, you know what I mean? And nothing wrong with it mattering. I'm just saying, I guess that's where it comes from. The like amount of tilt, how hard it lasts, how hard it hits, stuff like that. I guess it just.
That's the thing with tilt. I mean, the way to avoid it, I'd say, is definitely to not care as much about it. But if you care about something so much and you want to get better, it's gonna tilt you even harder. Like League, when I was so into it before, like I got tilted. I didn't go as far as like slamming my keyboard and you know breaking shit like fucking John and other stuff. But I came close to it. I smashed my glass table and I got really pissed off. The thing about that, like at this point, when I tilt, I play another game, sure, because I can't stop playing, but I just don't try. I just don't feel like committing, you know, because if you start trying and if you start caring about it, you're gonna beat yourself up and beat your shit up over and over again over it. Yeah. And that's the thing about it. That's what I do. I just go back into another game, gonna play another game of League, and I'm gonna troll Malphite support or something, or go a Zir ADC or some troll shit. And probably not get banned because League never bans me for that. But yeah.
So
I feel like it comes down to how competitive you are.
Yeah.
Like, Elijah, how competitive would you say you are when it comes to like video games?
I don't really think I'm competitive at all, to be honest, because I don't get tilted that often. And when I do get tilted, it's something to do with like one of my friends annoying me or my brother annoying me or something.
Well, I wonder who you're talking about. I know.
I argue with Evan all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
It's something like I don't care in the end of the day. Like after it passes, like Austin, I'll just not care anymore and I'll just continue. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't get tilted until I incorporate like a competitive aspect to it.
I guess that's what it is. It's like by investing that emotion, investing that passion, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, you make it vulnerable, I guess is what it is.
Great way to summarize.
Which is just part of the weakness. But if you don't put forth that passion, that effort, you won't, or if you don't put forth that passion, you won't put forth as much effort generally. So I think it's a double-edged sword when it comes to that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because like you guys care about it, and you're higher ranked than I'll ever be in League. Because I don't give a shit about it. But you also get more tilted more commonly. So I guess that's.
I don't really care about the rank this season, to be honest.
Where it comes from.
I felt like I stopped caring after I hit Diamond on my other account that got banned a couple years ago. Like back in I think season 8, I try-harded so hard and I played on this crappy laptop for my Diamond promos with John. And after I got that, I actually dropped the same season like 2 weeks later because I kept playing troll heroes or troll champions over and over again. And I dropped out of Diamond before the season ended. So I think what I wanted to believe, or what I believed at the time, was like, all right, I know I'm a Diamond player in League of Legends. And it's sad, but I know I'm a Diamond player in League of Legends. I will make it there. And once I made it there,
I have the exact same mentality.
There's no freaking goal after that. Like I have no drive to play League anymore, even though it's not on my main account. It doesn't matter.
Oh shit!
I haven't played League for like a full month.
Yeah, me and John played like a game a couple days ago, and it was a fail. We just trolled, and then we ult F4'd and played Valorant, I think. What were you saying, Austin?
Valorant gamers. You talking about drive? It like boom reminded me of a thing because like it was part of what I said in the conversation of the pursuit of happiness. Again, that was just, I think it was me, Dan, Elijah, and John or some shit that we just happened to be in a chat talking about this. But I think drive, passion, that is one of the most powerful things, you know, you can have. Because like, we're going to jump real quick just for a split second. But like the idea of the pursuit of happiness is that it doesn't have to be right now. It can be now, a year, 10 years, whatever. Every action you take, right, is ultimately aimed at bringing yourself, if you imagine happiness on like at a graph of like up to down, it's ultimately aimed at putting you up, right? Like nobody, like it's not like you want to be unhappy. You don't want that, right? You wake up and you're like, oh, I'm hungry and I hate pancakes. I'm gonna wait a little bit to just starve myself and then eat some pancakes because I just love being unhappy. Unless you're a masochist, but in that case it flips the graph for you. But yeah, like that passion, that drive, that fire, I would say part of like the thrill, you know, so to speak, of doing stuff comes down to that drive, that passion to pursue, right? Everything is about, just imagine like nothing, and then like just in the distance there's a fire, and you just chase it, right? All of the thrill of that comes from the chase. As soon as you get that fire, you pick it up. It's just like whatever. Like now that you have it, it doesn't matter, right? And so you're talking about like you reached your goal, and then after that you just didn't care. And I guess this is part of like the point, but it's also like the idea, just to bleed in a little bit to the pursuit of happiness. I guess we're getting a little bit off topic here, which is ironic.
Nah, just keep going.
But when you reach that fire, it extinguishes, right? Because it doesn't matter to you anymore. All that matters is that you didn't have it, you want it, you go to get it, you get it, doesn't matter. So then, boom, a new flame comes up, and so you end up not trapped, because again, it all depends on your mentality. To me, this is ecstasy, right? If I was living obviously I'm not living like a fucking high octane life right now, but if I was, like, this is the ideal life for me, is just constant pursuit of what it is I want, right? Just that ruthless dedication and that discipline from point to point to point to point to point. The points never matter after you get them, but the fact that you're chasing them is, to me, that would be ecstasy. And then I think Elijah was the one who was like contrary to that, where he sees that as being kind of stuck in like this cycle of like never being able to achieve a constant happiness if you live like that.
Yeah.
I still agree with that.
Yeah, I still agree with that.
That's why you have to have an ultimate goal to be able to never actually be in that cycle.
Well, see, here's the thing, because again, it's about mentality. You guys might see it as a cycle, but to me, that is that constant source. That pursuit is that constant source of happiness, right?
Okay.
It's not. Oh, he's here. What the hell does that mean? Elijah text here.
Look in the. All right.
But see, because like the way other people would imagine it, right, is the person is trying to get to that point because that point would give them happiness, right? So if you're constantly just going point to point, you're never truly happy. But for the alternate perspective, which is mine, is it's the pursuit that gives you that constant form of happiness. The points are meaningless other than just being the direction you go, if that makes sense. Dan, what do you think on that? Oh, which side of that?
I think we'll have to pass that to Elijah.
He's not listening. Someone's not listening, bro.
Where he sees that as being stuck in a cycle. I think Jake does too, because he mentioned it as being trapped.
It's freaking.
Yeah, I just
read the text right now. He's reading the text.
Time.
Yeah, can you just repeat that whole thing, Austin? That whole like
I got you,
1 minute description of goodness.
All right, gotta pump myself up. Let me do some push-ups. Some throwing text. All right, so Elias and Jake seem to be on the other side of this, where if you, and I don't know what you are. I'm not saying you are one side or the other, but I would assume you are closer to my side than theirs, simply because of like who you are. But imagine you are in just a pitch black room, and far in the distance is like a fire. This is like the kind of like metaphorical way that I describe it. And that fire, you chase that, right? That is that pursuit towards that goal. Once you get to that goal, you get that fire, it extinguishes, it no longer matters, but then you start again, a new fire pops up, you chase that. They see that fire is supposed to represent happiness, satisfaction, whatever, that goal, they see that as the fire being the purpose, the point, the whatever, whereas someone like me, that pursuit is what gives the happiness, the satisfaction, the whatever.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, to be honest.
You agree that it's the chase that matters as opposed to
I think
goal?
I think both matter, because it's like you want to achieve that goal, and then when you do achieve the goal, you experience happiness, and then you start the chase, and the initial chase doesn't really give you the like dopamine effect, I guess is what I call it. But then when you achieve that goal, it's like, okay, everything I've been working towards paid off, and then it's like you get that sense of like relief, but then you start again.
It sounds
it's fun, but it's like you want that to pay off. So I guess both. I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
It sounds like you're in the middle, but closer towards their side. Because to me, it's like you only care about that goal so long as you're pursuing it, and the act of pursuing that thing you want is what's like, yes, you know what I'm saying? But it's like Diamond Camo and Black Ops 2. I don't know if any of you guys ever went for that, but I was like, yo, Diamond Camo, Diamond Camo, Diamond Camo. I'd fucking grind that shit out with Travis. I got it. The very second I got it, it was just like, whatever. Like I didn't care about it anymore.
You talking about Black Ops 2?
It's like microtransactions.
Did that too.
Because it's not about the getting of what you want. It's about the idea of working towards something, I guess, that like pursuit. So I guess it's just two sides. Like it's just, again, I guess this comes down to perspective. Like to me, the happiness is in like fucking pursuing that shit. Whereas to you guys, it's like that goal is, I got the goal,
I think there's truth to both sides, because you have to be happy where you are right now, and pursuing something that will inevitably be triumphed by something else when you got that thing is where the trap that you talked about with me and Jake happened. But it's important to not like disregard where you are right now, because the whole idea of living in the future is just like, well, I'm going to be happy then, so I'll just do whatever I have to do right now. And then you get there, and then that's when you feel like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, I got it now. That's where the trap comes. Like, you get what I mean?
And that's all in procrastination too. It's literally the same idea, because I mean it's the same as like a ripple effect. Like, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I got an assignment that was due like last week that I still have to do, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. It's the same thing. I think with the.
That's a case of short-term pleasure triumphing the long term.
I mean, that's just a specific example. That's what I meant. Like, more long term. That's just procrastination.
You know what? I actually think it's ironic though that Elijah mentions it being like, because I'm normally the one. Like, I'm the one who, not like I'm the only one, but like generally, I think far into the future, right, as opposed to the now. But like the way I describe my pure ecstasy lifestyle, it would be entirely in the moment, which I think is weird. I don't know, like that discrepancy, but whatever.
Well,
no, I agree. I think you should live in the moment.
Well, no, I'm saying it's weird that I'm the one who normally is like that, but I'm the one who's like saying you should only like care about this.
Yeah, I think
like me, like relative to me, it's like I am the discrepancy between myself.
Mm-hmm. But let's say you're working for like a big goal, and you say you really like the climb up, but what if that climb up takes like several years and you start to feel like you're stagnant?
Well, I can't say
I've never been you enjoy it
like that.
Well, I think that's why you have to be happy where you are, like right in the present. Like, no matter what, you can continue working towards goals, but as long as you are fine with where you are right then and there, then you would be able to just continue no matter what.
I don't think we're arguing two different things, because mine is like, should I say? It's not a lack of happiness now, right? You are gaining that you're gaining that consistent happiness from the pursuit. So it's not like you're unhappy now, you know what I mean? You are still happy in the now. It's just the idea of working towards something bigger is what gives you that, you know.
It's hard because I agree with both sides.
I guess it's just one of those things, you can't have a rule for it, right? It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's like I like setting goals, but then it's like what you said, when you reach the goal, you're like, I want to set another one. So I guess you could say the climb, but if the climb takes a while, would you still say you're enjoying the climb?
Yeah, that's when it gets challenged. And I don't know, I can't say, because it's not like I don't think any of us have been on like a 10-year climb, you know what I mean? So we can't actually speak from experience.
We are right now, right? At least Dan.
Well, technically, yeah, but we're at the beginning of it, so I guess that's like, you can't really, you'd have to give it a few years and then come back to give yourself the accurate assessment.
I mean, I can have a general feeling of it, because when I was in my weight loss, that took like over a year. That's not close to 10 years, but that's close enough. But like when I was losing weight, I invested in that shit. Like every single day, I only cared about what would happen a year from then. And I got there and nothing changed at all. I was still me. And like, I'd look in the mirror, it was still me. And losing a few pounds didn't change anything. It didn't make me happier. It just made me want to go further. It's hard to explain the feeling, but it felt like I didn't get a goal at all. I didn't like achieve anything. You know?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
The purpose and the mission is what matters. That's my general gist of it. Anyway, as you're saying,
I think it varies though. Like, say for example, sorry, Dan, you can go first. No,
no, you can say what you're saying. I'll say it afterwards.
Okay, so I mean, it could be a body transformation, but it depends. Like, say for example, you're starting a restaurant and you build it up, and your goal is to get a successful restaurant. It definitely varies from goal to goal, because if you get a restaurant going, like, you're gonna feel happy of it being consistently packed and consistently full, right? It's not like you're gonna be like, all right, this is the same, because it definitely is dependent on what it is, on what you're actually doing and what your goal is. Weight loss is different than building a business and being successful and being satisfied that you're successful in building that business. But it definitely depends on the person as well. and how they perceive their goal and where they're at and how they feel about where they're at. And that's my take.
I have something to say on that after Danton gets his bit.
No, that's fine. It wasn't really in context what I was going to say.
Oh, well, all right then. Based on what, because you were talking about the restaurant stuff, it's different, right? And this is, it's obviously not as grand, but it's still similar, right? Like the Discord server, right? And this is mainly a thing about perception of it, where the entire time I want it to be something. This is a bit of an egotistical phrasing, but let me just give it to you. And this is just like a general thing. It doesn't matter how big or for how long. It only matters in that moment to be like the divine of your own kind of realm, right? Like if you're up, just say you're like a singer. I'm not a singer, but just say you are a singer. You're up on that stage. All the eyes are towards you. You are in control. Like you are the one who sets the tone, this, that, the other. Like that is your domain, right? And you are at the peak of it, right? That is also part of what I think is like the peak reality to live. And it could be something even as small as something giving a presentation in school. If you're like on top of your game with that shit, because this is one of the things I think one of the greatest feelings in the world is to have someone who has no obligation or expectation to like, congratulate you, to specifically walk up to you and say like, God, that was fucking great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of shit. And I had this the other day with the server because I have like bouts of it, like where I'm like really inspired, and then other times when I'm just like, taking the back seat, just doing whatever, with trying to like, get it up there. And the other day, probably like maybe like 2 weeks or some shit, a week or two, Nick was talking about how like he was basically like saying the server was good, it was great, all that. And it like I've never opened my eyes to the present reality of the server until then. It was always about, and I guess this is in contrast to what I was saying, so yeah, it is dependent on the circumstance. Normally, like I said, it's always about like pursuing a goal, and that was me. Like obviously it was a little on and off, right? I'm not going to say I was constantly on the grind to make it big, but I would have my moments of working towards it. But when he was like saying the shit like that, it hit me, right? It's like that thing that I'm seeking, it's already here. I already have it. And at that moment, it was like, I didn't comment on it or anything. Like I'm not going to just lose my cool, be like, oh my God, thank you, man. But that, it just hit me, bro. It hit me like a wave, and it just felt good for just a little bit, dude. That was hit different, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, it definitely feels good when you're working towards something and someone points out how successful you're doing.
Because I think that's the biggest problem with the pursuit aspect of things, is that in pursuing something more, you don't fully realize what you already have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Because you just want more and more. And that's not a bad thing either. Like again,
it's like the cycle of a YouTuber.
Yeah, it depends on the person. Like, if you're happy doing whatever you're doing, then just keep doing it.
Yeah, because it's not like trying to grow the server was giving me stress or anything. I wasn't like, oh my God, we're not fucking 4 million members. What the hell? But it felt good to know that, like, it's like, wow, this. Because like this was, I like didn't know Nick at all pretty much before this. Like, so he was only in the server for maybe like a week at this point, or maybe like probably a little more than that, maybe like a week and a half or so. And he was saying that shit. So like, I don't know, it felt good.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, because new eyes, compliment.
Because it's not biased, right?
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah.
Because they mean a bit more than someone, because someone could be just saying that, right? Like your friend, all right, the server's pretty good, but if you get like fresh eyes, a fresh look, it's gonna mean more. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and oh, dude, he ordered the patches with the fucking logo and stuff, and the air something. It felt so good. But
first merch.
Yeah. Do we want to get into a lighthearted or a serious conversation? Because I actually have another one to bring up if it's serious.
I'm down for another serious conversation.
Yeah,
that's
all right.
Good for whatever.
All right, so.
Oh wait, Elijah, did you want to switch it?
No, I said I was good for whatever.
All right, because if we're looking at like just a bit of a personal reflection type of deal, I think one of my biggest things, right, and I've realized this from like from the large scale to the small scale, even like something as insignificant on like a life level as this the MC server, not the Discord server, the MC server, where it's about, I am not the stereotypical control freak that tries to micro everything, but if something doesn't work according to some like design that either I determine or that I kind of like draw a conclusion from, like that, if it doesn't work according to some design that I either visualize, see, believe in, whatever, it really like, I have a hard time letting go of that. You know what I mean? So like, I'm a control freak in that sense. So like, and this is what I mean, like in the server, where I was like, no, don't this, that, the other. I was like, it's got to be perfect, right? Like, but then I let go of the perfection, and then we made progress. And again, it's insignificant, but it's a little bit of a little lesson. You know what I mean about control. Like, are any of you guys like that? Do you guys like? This is actually before. That's the exact reason why why originally I wanted to own the server compared to everyone else, right? Because it's like it's a matter of control, right? I don't know.
I mean, to put it into different words, I mean, I could somewhat relate because, I was admin on a couple games before, such as Gary's Mod, and this is kind of taking a turn from the serious aspect of this topic. But I was 13. I was 13 years old, and there was this game mode on Gary's Mod. It was Flood, and basically what you had to do was you had to put the props and you had to float the boat and make a boat and shoot people's boats. And I was an admin on there, right? And I was 13. No, maybe I was like 12 years old, and I had a really squeaky voice, right? And this leads into the next one. When you're an admin on a game or server, you want to be the control freak, especially when you're 12 years old and get flamed by everyone in the game, right? Now, when I'm talking to people, they were giving me some shit. They were saying, "Shut the fuck up! You're like 12 years old, bro." Like, I had to submit. I had to show them my power. So I banned them off the server, bro. I kicked them out. I muted them. I gagged them, and I used my power. I was 12 years old. They're flaming me, bro. I had to do something. So that's what I did. I muted. I gagged them. I kicked them out the server, and I don't regret that at all. And
I think we're a little different in that regard.
Nah. That's basically control freakage. That's what that is. And the same thing on the Grawl server. They were talking shit. They get banned. Quick ban. But I was like 12 years old. I mean, progressively over time, I mean, I didn't really have that because I wasn't getting flamed because I wasn't 12. But I mean, to your whole thing, Austin, honestly, if you're trying to make something in a way and if people are fucking up with it, it's understandable why you'd be pissed off. But
I guess so, but that seems more like a micro rather than like the macro type of deal. But I get what you're saying.
It's definitely better to just take a step back and chill out for a second, see their point of view on their side. If they're trying to be lighthearted about it or making a joke, it's definitely better to just step back and just let it happen in some ways, in some things.
Control the world.
The only thing
controlling things, But
yeah.
The same time.
The only thing I'd say is like that I'm controlling about is like my personal brand, because I feel like that's a reflection of me.
Yeah.
So like that's why it would take so long for me to start making a video, because I'd like record a video, start editing it, and then I'd be like, well, this isn't good enough. Now I have to add this for like special editing effect. Well, this isn't good enough. Now I have to add this. Well, this isn't good enough. Now I have to add this. And then it would go for like 2 months, and then I'd be like, well, I guess I'll just scrap that video, and then I'll come up with a new one.
And it's relatable, dude. But the thing is, the first step is to actually start and to upload the video. Like, even if it's not as good as you think it is, you're never going to get anywhere or grow your brand or anything if you don't upload something at least. Like,
yeah,
the one you uploaded before is good. It's a start. And it's time to start uploading like every day, every week. Get a time schedule in there, because it's the like, worst thing to just drag yourself down because you want to be a perfectionist and shit.
Yeah.
That's what everyone keeps telling me. Like this one YouTuber, his name used to be like Out for Cloud. I think it's now like Clouded or something like that. But it's like he was making like videos and stuff like that, talking about quality and how it didn't have to be like super good. And then I started thinking like these people are making videos and they're like average quality, sometimes above average, but they're like really enjoying what they're doing. And it's like, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm not putting it out because I don't think it's like perfect, which is why like the Valorant video I put out, I made that in like one day and edited it for like an hour, not even an hour, maybe like 40 to 30 minutes worth of editing.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it out.
And that's good. That's the first step. Just keep freaking doing that. And over time, you're going to be able to do things like way faster and make better stuff without actually having to edit all too much or, doubt yourself in a way to where you would not upload in the first place.
Yeah, it's like with real estate and like cold calls, because that's what I was nervous about before. I felt like I had to know everything and like be a perfectionist. Because what if someone were to ask me like a random question, like, "You don't know this question? You're not a real one. You're a fraud," or something like that.
It's good to strive to be a perfectionist, I think, because but it's also good to
until it cripples you.
Yeah, until it cripples you, actually. But it's also good to be a realist. Like, what am I doing right now? Is this going to distract me? Is this going to push me back in some way? And specifically when it comes to YouTube and making YouTube videos, if you want to make YouTube videos, you have to just, like as I said before, put something out there. If you drag yourself out back with that perfectionist mentality, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's the thing with a lot of businesses and stuff you want to grow too. Like, all right, this got to be perfect. This got to be that. But who the fuck is watching or who the fuck is looking at your stuff in the first place?
Yeah, consumers only measure off of competition. As long as you're better than them, that's all that matters.
Right. And that's my thing. What do you think, Elijah?
I want to add on to you for a sec, actually. Like, I feel like people often mistake being realistic with being pessimistic. Like, being realistic isn't about, like, what could go wrong. It's about, like, the whole situation in general. Right. Like, you shouldn't, like, not do something because you don't know if you could do it just because you're being realistic.
Exactly.
That's not being realistic. Being realistic is something like, oh, if you don't do it, you're never going to know if you could have succeeded. That's being realistic.
And for the people that are saying, like, or equating realism to pessimism, the people are saying, oh my God, don't be so pessimistic. Don't be pessimistic. Like, if you live in a fairy world and act like an asshole and don't understand anything and don't see the world around you and how it is, then you're just not living in reality, you know? And that's just the bottom line. You have to have a sense of realism, and you have to, like, without it being pessimism, because it's really not. Pessimism's, I think it's separate. But you have to know what you're gonna do. You have to see yourself in the eyes of the world. You know, that's kind of putting it a bit deep. I mean, what do you think about that, Dan?
Who, me or?
Yeah. Pessimism, realism, how it equates.
I don't know. I feel like it's better to be a realistic optimist. Like, be a realist, but lean more towards like an optimistic side.
To give you confidence?
Yeah, to give yourself confidence.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the peak mindset as far as that goes would be to have that confidence, have the optimism of, like, you know, what this could be, what leads to, because that's the whole entire aspect of having the dream. You can't be a dreamer and a pessimist. That just doesn't fucking work. And I think the reason people would normally equate being realistic with being pessimistic is because anyone who ever tries to do anything, naturally, you know, you're leaning towards the optimistic side. And the realism, if you imagine this on a grid, right, or like a line, a chart, whatever, the realistic, like, analysis, whatever you want to call it, would be more pessimistic than whatever you're at now. But, like, actual pessimism is, like, way far down the line. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times when people say, or you're being pessimistic when you're being realistic, it's what was I gonna say? It's like, it's to put you down in some way. They're not understanding what you're trying to say or what the reality of the situation is. And
I think that could go both ways.
From their point of view?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what's happening.
Because somebody could, like, they might not know the entire situation. Like, you could be being realistic, but they are, like, kind of like the outside eyes, so they could be telling you to be realistic as, like, to benefit you. Like, they think you're being a little too, you know what I mean? Yeah,
it could vary. Like, that was a really bad example. Like,
well, no, but I get what you're still trying to say. I'm just adding in that it depends. But yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something really good about thing, like, but I completely forgot. But
That happens.
I see what you're saying, but is it okay if I drag it to like a different section, but it has to kind of do with the same thing?
Sure.
yeah,
How do you guys feel when someone doubts what you say you're going to do, or like has a negative viewpoint of what you plan to do, or like what you're trying to do, or trying
Take
to
pride in
accomplish?
proving them wrong. Boom. Mic
Yeah.
drop right there.
Yeah, I agree.
and that ends that topic right there.
That was quick.
So in that case, let me just hijack real quick and steer back to one thing Dan said. The idea when he was talking about cold calls, the idea that you have to know everything, dude, that fucking hits me hard. And because, like, here's the thing, right? And I guess this is kind of like the opposite of where we began, where you look too much outside rather than inside. This would be a case of looking kind of too much inside and not being able to properly see outside. But for example, in the engineering academy in high school, right? You're in an engineering class, and constantly you're like thinking about the future. Like, obviously, I want to, like, not obviously, I guess, but you want a career in engineering, right? You're in the engineering academy, you want a career in engineering. And for some reason in my head, like, because in school, generally, I just, everything that came up, it was just like, I got it, or if I didn't, I just, fuck it, whatever, I don't care, right? But when it came to, like, engineering, it's like, everything so far was kind of, like, naturally clicking, but then I started thinking about it, like, getting a job as an engineer, I'm like, how am I supposed to get a job as an engineer? I don't know how to do, like, these insert really, like, thermodynamic type shit, like, and somehow it was never able to really click with me until, like, way down the line that, like, dude, this is what college is for. Like, like, I feel like anytime I don't know something, it's like, because I've never, not as like a braggart type of thing, but like I've never really had to like try to learn something, right? So like to me, the idea of having to learn something, like really get into something to learn it, is just like, it's alien. So like the whole idea of like learning something at college to go to a job, like the fact that I didn't already know how to be like the number one engineer was like, holy shit, I don't know if I can do that. You know what I mean? So it like really holds you back if you get stuck in that mindset.
yeah.
Because here's the thing, if you don't know something, as soon as you learn it, because you always have that option. As soon as you learn it, you know it forever in theory.
Yeah.
You know, with the engineering thing, I think it's a lot of overthinking with because you're literally going to get an internship with the engineering specifically. I mean, this is kind of just shooting you down, to be honest, because you could just get an internship and then learn the craft from there and get an internship at a job and then learn specifically what they want you to do. I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was just an example of like where I got that like mindset from. Like,
Right.
you know, it's just like, but yeah, that's like the entire thing is like, it's not like anybody else expects you to come in knowing everything, but somehow it just took me forever to like realize like, hey, you know what? You gotta just learn this shit. It's not like you're like supposed to know thermodynamics in like 2 years old. Like, what the hell?
All right.
I don't know.
Check the frickin' chat.
All right. That works. But yeah, okay, that conversation's pretty much dead. We've got it good. I mean, we talked about some really good shit here. I like the kind of vibe we got. We definitely get in a little deep there without making it too like gritty, right? Had a little bit of that lighthearted in the beginning too with the chips and the anime and stuff. And that was cool.
Is this going
So I
to the
think all in all-
podcast too?
Huh?
Yes.
Nice.
I think it's
Yeah. This is me wrapping it up. You know, you the audience. I'm wrapping this up. Just so you know. All right. So yeah, like the general gist of what's going on here is kind of what can be expected in the future when we continue this. Things might change a little bit. You know, sometimes we'll bring on some guests, like if John or Dan or Evan or whatever ever wants to come on, we might have them in for an episode or two, see what they think on the matter, stuff like that. But that's up for this time. So have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No.
Oh man,
It's really 1:13.